Why is a 1983 Lincoln Cent struck on a copper planchet or a 1982 D small date struck on a copper planchet worth as much as the 1943 struck on a copper planchet? Well, we're going to talk about that in this video and why one is so much more valuable than the other. Well, let's just take a look at some of the values first before we get into this discussion. A 1943 on a copper planchet, bronze planchet, from Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, is 10 to 15 known. You know, they can't stick to a magnet, and they have to weigh around 3 grams, 3.1 grams. In Mint State 63, it's listed as $1 million. Now, we saw in my last video, there's different prices for these. 100 some thousand, 200 some thousand, the damaged one sold for 88. Then you have the 43D, which is unique. Only one's known on the D. We've already discussed that. And then the 43S, there's 5 known. Now, you can see the values here. When you go to auctions, now you can go to the price guide, but they're not listed. Another thing to consider, the 74 aluminum, it's actually one known. These are extremely rare, and they're worth $150,000 to $250,000. They're not even worth the same, even though they're more rare per se, or as rare, let's put it that way. So to find the prices for the 82D small date on a bronze planchet or copper planchet, you have to go to auction records. You'll have to go to Stack's Bowers. You have to go to Heritage Sold Auctions here, the archives, the past sale prices. And you can see that $10,000, $800, $8,400. There's basically 2 of these. There's rumors there's more. Obviously, they have to be graded or they're not going to count. They have to come to auction to actually have a value. So we have these to look at. These are probably the same coin. I don't know. I know they're the same grade, AU58. Both of them are NGC. But the point of it is that these sold for a fraction of what the 1943 sold for. Then you go to the 83. It's another one. There's not very many of these. I mean, there's more, but they're just as rare and on par with the 1943 copper cents. And look at the values for these. 61 and red brown, 3,120, 4,800. And you can look at the price here of 1 in 63, $504,000, 1943S. A 1989D on a copper planchet, 3.1 gram planchet, and a 1990D. We've looked at these in videos before, and it amazes me too that their values are just so much less than a 1943. Now, there's reasons for that, and they're not easy reasons because it's hard for people to wrap their brains around some of this. And I've said it before, coins are worth what they're worth because of popularity of the series and because that creates the demand. And when you have more people trying to collect it because of the popularity and demand, and there's not enough examples for those collectors, the price goes up. That's how values work. That's how something is more rare than others. 1943 steel cents, 1 year. Accidentally, a few of them were struck on a copper planchet from the different branch mints. They were popular, very popular. They have a mystique about them, okay? And they've had a long time to gain that mystique. You're looking at 70-some years. Lincoln Memorial cents have not. They're not as collected or as loved, I should say, as wheat cents, okay? Those 1943 obviously are their wheat cents. They represent a bygone era, a golden age, where we were in World War II and everybody pulled together, and it's just a time that is just more respected than, let's say, the 80s. So, unfortunately, these are not worth as much because of that. They're just Lincoln Memorial cents that are on their own planchet. Now, in the coming decades, these should increase in value unless someone finds a boatload of them. If they remain rare, they'll be more collectible. But I do not think that the 89, the 90, and the 82D small date and the 83 will ever reach the heights of the 1943. I just don't see it happening. I'll see the 43 continue to increase. It was basically the first to become real popular. There was experimental pieces. The 1944 is another one. It's not even worth as much as the 43. And you can take a look at those. They're pretty close to the same value but they're still only basically about half the value, even in the same grade as the 1943. And they've had a few years as well to gain, uh, mystique about them. And they're just not the 43. It's just not. And that's just the way it works. It's something that it's an intangible, but the 43 is just more popular, more collected, more desirable. And that is why it has a greater demand. And whenever they come up for auction, they just go to the moon. I mean, when it comes to value. So sometimes things just don't make sense. I mean, you think about it and you're like, just because a coin is unique doesn't mean it's going to be worth more. It doesn't have to be unique. Matter of fact, you probably don't want it to be unique. You want to have a couple, three examples that are traded and sold around and has some people, vying for their ownership. That will put the value up. You find a unique coin, comes up for auction, it sells for a few $1,000s. That's a great thing if you just found it in your change or in a collection. You don't have much in it. But it's not the make yourself right in retirement type coin just because it's a unicorn. I mean, there's unicorns out there. You can see that, but they're very rare to find. It's like, winning the lottery. But that's the reason why, just basically the popularity and that creates the demand. That's where the value comes from. And then that value is sustained. And once that value is established, then it's sustained by other little factors that happen, but it's always going to be about, how much media the coin gets and how many people want to collect it. And that comes from the popularity and the demand. So thanks for watching my latest video. If you like these kind of videos, hit the sub button. Let me know in the comments. Hit the bell so you get all notifications. And also, check out my website if you'd like to support my channel or my coin shop. It's portsmouthcoinshop.com. I have a lot of coins up for sale, a lot of different graded coins and silver dollars. I still have the 5% off until the 31st of this month. So if you get a chance, check out portsmouthcoinshop.com and have a great day.